Hi, my name is Carole Jackson, and I'm going to present some bear awareness training you can use as a tool just to feel a little bit more prepared when you're out and about this season. Before I begin, I'll introduce myself a little though. I work as a technologist for the Natural Environment Department at Sioux College, and before that, spent about 10 years on a fire crew for the MNRF. While I was working there, I watched the video that this presentation is based on every year as part of my spring training. In addition, I spend a lot of time in the backcountry, either with groups of students for the college or on my own time doing solo trips. So I am very accustomed to being in the bush. When I'm out in nature, I expect to see bears, but Sault Ste. Marie itself is bear country because we share the same space. The potential for an encounter is always there, but you can decrease the chance of having a negative interaction by doing just a few things, such as having an awareness of your surroundings at all time. And this is probably the biggest prevention technique you could use. It will decrease your chance of surprising a bear that doesn't know you're there, or of getting in between a sow and cubs, or in other words, a mom and her children. Having a basic knowledge of what to do if you encounter a bear is important, as it can give you a framework to follow so you can feel more prepared and knowing that you're doing the right thing for the circumstance. This knowledge is, of course, based on understanding a bit about bear behavior and being able to assess what characteristics the bear you are dealing with has. Avoiding bear confrontations altogether is by far the best practice. It's the same as defensive driving. You want to avoid putting yourself in a potentially dangerous situation. Some tips on how to do this include being aware and mindful of your surroundings at all times. Being present with what is happening around you can give you the advantage, as you may see the bear before it even knows you're there. And this would then give you the time to back away and not let it become agitated. Being aware also lets you listen for animal sounds and smell for unusual or musky odors. And really, if you're ever in doubt, make noise. Warn the bears of your presence. This is something that we as mountain bike riders do very well. And when you're out having fun with your friends, chances are bears know you're coming from a mile away and have left the area. Most bears don't want to have anything to do with humans and will completely get out of the way if they know you're there. One thing to be cautious of is having pets with you. Unless a dog is properly trained and on a leash, it can actually instigate a bear attack. There have been many cases of dogs chasing bears and realizing they are no match for it and returning to the owner with a very pissed off bear chasing it. Dogs can also aggravate a sow and her cubs, which can then lead to an attack as she tries to defend them. So if you see a bear, be respectful of it and don't exceed its tolerance for humans. Bears avoid confrontation unless necessary, and they'll display signs of displeasure when they're upset. Signs of stress can include yawning, moaning, huffing, popping, and stiffening, or just changing how they're standing. So it's very similar to when dealing with a fellow human, in that bears display how they're feeling, and it's up to us to read that body language and then act accordingly. Individual bears have different personalities. Both the type of bear and the situation you are encountering it in will play a large role in how the bear reacts to your presence. Each situation is going to be different, and you should calmly assess it and form an action plan based on the scenario that's in front of you. The intent of this training is to provide both awareness of why bears often behave the way they do, as well as provide tools for developing strategies if you do encounter a bear. For the purposes of this training, bears can be divided into three categories: a sow with cubs, a lone bear, and a predatory bear. A sow with cubs is simply a mom and her kids. As any parent can relate, her ultimate goal is to protect her young from whatever dangers she feels are around her. So with this in mind, anything that could cause the sow to be concerned should be avoided. This includes surprising the bears by walking quietly, or dogs antagonizing them, or even just you acting aggressively and confrontationally when you see them. So, what should you do if you meet up with a sow and cubs? Number one, stay calm and assess the situation. You won't be able to think straight and make the right decision if you're panicking. You can ask yourself questions like, where are the cubs in relation to myself and the sow? Am I between the mom and her children? Does the sow feel either her cubs or herself are cornered or trapped in any way? What is my best route for slowly backing away and immediately leaving the area? Does the bear even know I'm there? Or can I go back the way I came without alerting it to my presence and therefore avoiding a confrontation altogether? And that, of course, is the best policy. If you can, quietly, slowly go back the way you came. Never run. This can instigate a predator prey reaction. In other words, you would be acting like the prey. Plus, by running, you could be exciting the bear when otherwise maybe it was very calm. If the bear knows you are there, talk to it quietly and calmly in a low voice and let it know you're human. If the bear is downwind, it may catch your scent, but otherwise it might not know what you are. So, talking to it in a calm, reassuring voice can help it understand what it's dealing with and that you mean no harm. Don't make eye contact. Similar to working with dogs, making eye contact can be perceived as a sign of aggression or dominance. You want the bear to feel in control and that you are not a threat. So don't yell, don't act aggressively. And in this case, don't make eye contact. It will only make you seem like more of a threat. Finally, it is extremely important that you never get between a sow and her cubs. The safest escape route is often back the way you came. So slowly back away from the bear and just leave the area. A bear that's feeling defensive, meaning that it is feeling the need to protect itself, may do what is called a bluff charge. This is a sign of agitation and an attempt to scare you off. It involves running towards you, but stopping just before it reaches you. If this happens, stand your ground, don't run. If you run, the bear may chase and attack you. Just continue talking to it reassuringly, and once it has stopped advancing, then you can slowly back away. If the bear charges again, stop, stand your ground again, continue to talk to it calmly. Then once it stops, you can slowly back away. And then you would just keep repeating this process until you're able to leave the area. So touch wood, just to add some of my own personal accounts, I have never had to go through this, and I can only imagine how terrifying it would be. But I think knowing that the bear is only wanting to scare me away would help me keep my cool a little bit more and hopefully prevent me from having to change my shorts a little bit later on. However, in the event the bear does see you as a threat that needs to be dealt with, for example, if she feels her cubs are in danger and she needs to protect them, she may attack. So should this happen, in this situation where cubs are involved, play dead. The sow is trying to reassure herself the threat is neutralized, so don't fight back. Stay as calm as possible and don't yell. And again, honestly, that advice used to crack me up every time I watched this video, but it makes sense. Even though the bear may be treating you like some cat toy, the more submissive you are, the faster she is going to realize that you are not there to cause her or her family any harm. If you happen to be wearing a backpack at the time, keep it on. It's going to protect your back. Lie face down on the ground with your fingers locked behind the back of your neck, as this is going to protect your spinal column. Keep your legs slightly apart so you can't be rolled over easily. If the bear does roll you over, keep rolling over so you're lying on your stomach once again. This is going to protect your core and all your vital organs. Don't try and get up until the bear has assured herself that you are no longer a threat and has left the area. Okay, lone bears. Lone bears can be male or female, young or old. They are simply an animal going about their business and you happen to be crossing paths. They can be aggressive or fearful. It just depends on their personality and how accustomed they are to being around humans. Bears in the wild are often more fearful and want nothing to do with humans. City bears, on the other hand, are more habituated to the noise and commotion of an urban setting, and they don't scare as easily. They may also associate humans with food, as garbage is often easily available. So, what should you do in the event that you encounter a lone bear? Number one, of course, stay calm, assess the situation. You can ask yourself questions like, what is the best way to leave the area? How is the bear reacting? Does it seem agitated and upset? Is it acting defensively to protect maybe a food cache? Or are there cubs around and I just can't see them? Is it calm and curious about me? Does it smell the food in my pack? Maybe it wants it. Does the bear even know I'm here? Or can I go back the way I came without alerting it to my presence? Which, of course, that is your number one choice if you can. Never run. If the bear knows you are there, talk to it quietly and calmly and let it know you're human. Again, if the bear is downwind, it'll probably catch your scent, but otherwise it may not be familiar with what you are. So talk to it in that calm, low voice and let it know that you're not a threat. And of course, don't make eye contact. You're not trying to you're not trying to instigate an aggressive situation. You're trying to avoid it. If the bear is feeling defensive, similar to what a sow and cubs might do, it may do a bluff charge to try and scare you off. So again, if this happens, stand your ground. Do not run. Continue to talk to the bear, and once it has stopped advancing, then you can slowly back away. There is a chance the bear may be simply just curious about you. So if this is the case, it's going to approach you very slowly with its head raised and be sniffing the air. Basically, it's trying to assess what you are. It's trying to suss you out. So if this happens, talk to it in a very firm voice and read its behavior. What are its intentions? Does it back off and lose interest, or is it getting closer? And if it gets too close and shows no fear, you will need to treat it as a predatory bear. Predatory bears will approach you with their head raised and show confidence. They are rare, and I'll repeat that, they are rare. But due to starvation, habituation to human food, or just aggression, they may choose to use humans as a food source. We may think we're the top of the food chain, but we're not. And although the chance of encountering a predatory bear is very rare, I would be completely remiss to not include it in this presentation because it is a possibility. So we have to think about it. And if it were to happen, it would be an extremely dangerous situation that you would need to do everything that you possibly could to fight for your life. So in the unlikely event this happens, what can you do? Number one, as always, stay calm, assess the situation. Ask yourself, what is my best escape route? How far is it to the safety of my car or a building? What can I use as a weapon? Rocks, large sticks, knife, bear spray, anything. How can I try and scare the bear away? And if you're out riding, you're going to have your bike. And you can either put that in between yourself and the bear as a bit of a barrier, or you can hold it over your head and wave it around and make yourself look really big and fearsome and like something that this bear does not want to tangle with. Additionally, it's good to think, do you have food in your pack that maybe the bear smells and wants? If you're with other people, group together. If you're wearing packs, keep them on your backs to protect your back. In this situation especially, never run. You do not want to act like prey. Move off to the side. Move out of the bear's path because maybe it just wants to get by. But if it follows you, make as much noise as possible, throw things at it, and attempt to scare it away. Make yourself look as big and fearsome as you possibly can. The bear may be testing its dominance against you. So hold your arms over your head. Use your backpack or your bike to make yourself look big. Stand on a rock or a log to appear tall. Wave branches around and slash them against the ground. Throw rocks and sticks or use bear spray if you have it. Make yourself look like a crazy person if you need to, but never take your eyes off the bear. Always watch it because in this case, if the bear is seeing you as prey, there's a chance it may attack as soon as it sees the opportunity. So you always want to be watching it. In this particular situation, when you're dealing with a predatory bear and it attacks, do not play dead. You will need to fight back. Gouge at the bear's eyes, punch it in the snout, kick it, use a knife, do whatever is necessary to fight it off. And then once you or someone else is able to, call 911 or another form of help if you're more remote. And that's it. I absolutely hate ending on a scary note like that. So, just to summarize what I want you to take away from this, it's the knowledge that every bear encounter is unique and needs to be assessed from the perspective of what the bear is feeling and what its goals are. This will allow you to determine the best course of action for how to handle the situation. And remember, though, the majority of bears don't want anything to do with people and will only attack if feeling provoked or in need of defending themselves, a food source, or their cubs. So be aware of your surroundings when outside, but don't let the possibility of encountering a bear prevent you from going out and doing the things that you enjoy, such as riding. So get out there, ladies, and enjoy.